What's going on, guys? This is Brad with Techbuds-Solutions, where we talk everything OTC. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for joining us for the first time. If you've never seen my videos before, basically what I do is I talk everything related to OTC stocks. So a lot of these stocks trade well under a penny. They will. It's a very volatile market. And as you can see, if you're returning guests, this is not my normal spot. Usually you just see me on my couch chilling, talking to you guys about whatever stocks we're getting ready to play for the week. I'm actually here with Ricky. We're looking over or trying to do a project together that's going to be really great for the group. And I can't go into a whole lot about what we're going to be providing for you guys, but what I can tell you is that it's going to be awesome. I can't freaking wait. It's been a really exciting week so far, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. I want to tell you so bad, but it's going to have to wait. It'll be worth the wait. I can promise you that. So the point of tonight's discussion is that I want to go over two stocks that have been trending lately. And again, this is just my way of being able to show you, especially if you're new to OTCs, how to do some due diligence on these and see potential and value in these stocks, right? So if you're familiar with Techbuds-Solutions and you follow Ricky normally, what he does is like a lot of technical analysis. He makes his trades based off of doing that technical analysis on charts, whereas my approach is a little bit more fundamental. I look for potential catalysts and find the bottom of stocks to get in at my price point. And then once that catalyst hits, I ride the run up and then sell as the run is continuing. And so a good strategy that we like to do is for me personally, I look for potential to double my position. So like if I get in, if I put $1,000 position at say something that's trading, that's what we call a 000 stock. So it's trading at 0.000 like 8 cents per share. I'll get in $1,000 worth of that, and so once that doubles, I'll sell my initial buy-in and then ride the rest as profit. And so that's something that's been successful for me, and it's been successful for a lot of our traders so far. And again, it's not something that you have to do, but it's just another strategy or another way that you can be successful with, with trading. And so two particular tickers that I wanted to go over tonight. One is NTLK. If you guys followed Ricky's Sunday Stock Talk, I was a guest on his show that last night, and we went over this a little bit. But if you missed it, no worries. We're going to go over it again tonight because I think this is something that could be particularly special. Another one we're going to go over is FRFS. This has been one that's kind of been a little volatile, to say the least. It's been through a lot since November. It's been through a caveat emptor, and but there's still potential here that I think could yield some pretty decent profits. So somebody said awesome work, enjoyed the collab with Ricky. Thanks. Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, so just wanted to say thanks and give you all a shout out. Just right before I went live tonight, I crossed over the 4,000 sub mark. So I appreciate that. I really couldn't do any of this without you guys, and I appreciate the support. It means everything to me to know that I'm making a difference in your guys' life, and that we're all like in this together, right? So anyway, enough of the sentiment. I'm gonna go right into it. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Give me one moment. Okay, so NTLK. This was one that really started to run up last week. Early last week, it started to run, and I think that there's still potential for this because And again, if you're new to this channel, one of the resources that I utilize for fundamental trading is a networking group. It's called Investors Hub. It's investorshub.com. There's a lot of folks that trade OTCs on this site, and we all get together. And one super important thing to consider when you're trading OTCs is networking. And so that's like the quintessential tool when it comes to trading these is networking. And so again, we obviously have our Discord chat group, which is great, and we're trying to build that. But you can't do enough networking, and so this is just another resource that I like to use, especially since it's been around for a while, and there is a lot of people that give good information. You kind of have to sift through some of it, because obviously there's some people that might not do the best DD. So obviously you always want to go and check back behind those who are sharing information with you to make sure and validate for yourself. Obviously one of the biggest rules that we like to promote within Techbuds-Solutions is not to invest in something that you don't understand, and not to invest in anything based off of someone else's opinion. And that couldn't be more true here as well. So one major thing that happened with NTLK was that they were being sued. And so I like BB Stock. He's within our group. He's an awesome resource that we have now within Techbuds-Solutions. He just recently joined. And he's been on iHub forever. And he actually shared this information regarding NTLK, that they were being sued, and they were going to have to forfeit $3 million in assets, 44 million shares, which is why the stock plummeted back in 2014. And so when it was before the lawsuit back in 2014, this was trading at around close to 30 cents. I think it was like 26 to 28 cents per share before the lawsuit hit. And then the lawsuit hit, and it went all the way down sub-penny. It went almost to triple zeros. But it was hanging right around a half a penny, and that's when a lot of us got in. And so if you can see here, I'll pull it up. If I go back, so I like to utilize Trade Architect as my technical analysis tool. Let's see here. Whoops. Oh, this is FRFS. Sorry. This is another one that I was going over. Give me one moment. I'll get it pulled up for you guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, so let's go back here. I had to readjust it. Sorry about that. So if you can see back in 2014, this was trading close to 40 cents actually. So with that being said, I think the potential here could be much greater than the price point that it's at now. And the reason why I say that is because NTLK hasn't come out officially to announce that they've won the case, but this is how we figured out that the case had been won. So with the information that was provided on iHub, and so this is why it's always important to go back behind those who are providing information. So I went ahead and did this myself and went to the pacermonitor.com website, which reveals all the court cases that are being tried. And you can see here that on the 14th of last week, that the joint motion to dismiss with prejudice was granted. And so the case is basically dismissed. And what that means is that they don't have to give up that $3 million and 44 million shares, and that they are scot-free. So my theory is that this could potentially rise back to that 30 to 40 cent price per share, and that we still have a ways to go with this one. So that's just my opinion. Obviously with OTCs, it's there's so much volatility that there are instances where you would think that it would go up, and then sometimes it doesn't. So you just have to manage your risk based off of your own risk tolerance. But this is something that I certainly see potential in. And again, go ahead and go back and do your own due diligence with this and see if it's something that you may want to take a position on as well. And so the other one that I wanted to talk about was FRFS. So again, I'll go back to Investors Hub, and because it's just easier to navigate through, and just kind of show you what I mean. But FRFS is another one. I kind of wanted to touch on float a little bit as well. So for my strategy, I don't like to trade anything that has a large float, right? Like I typically like to trade something that has under 100 million float. So anything higher than 100 million float means that the stock will take a lot more activity, a lot more volume to get the price per share to move. And so that's something that takes too much work like that isn't worth my time. I would rather get into something that has a much smaller float, and that's much easier for it to move, and easier for me to get out of it than something that's just going to take forever. Because sometimes even the best catalyst for a company, that's not going to matter a whole lot when it takes so much to move it. And so this one, if you can see here, the float's at 47 million. So it's under that 100 million, you know, number for me. So this, is something that I definitely see worth looking into. And so FRFS has been through, like I said, a lot. They were basically just a shell back in November, and then they went active with the Nevada Secretary of State back in November, and that's when this really took off. It went from triple zeros all the way up to 7 cents back in November, and had some ups and downs, and then got a caveat emptor thrown on it because of an improper email that went out. Sometimes that's just the name of the game here. The caveat emptor is not a nice label to be thrown on any OTC stock, as we've seen before. It's still on there. And this thing actually went almost to 10 cents on Friday. The reason for that being is that there is a name change in the ISIN system. This is just another resource to use. And so GIFA, GIFA Inc. is a company overseas that is speculated to be merging with Firefish or FRFS. And so this is why a lot of people are seeing so much potential with this. And so that is why it started to run again on Friday. Let me go back to that for you. And so once this gets announced that a merger is happening, I could definitely see more potential for this one as well. It's just going to maybe take a little bit before that actually goes current. But let me see here. Bear with me one moment because I want to go back. Still at 5-year. So as you can see here, it just touched 10 cents on Friday, and I believe it came back down to 7. Yeah, it closed at 7 cents on Friday. But so the fact that it went all the way up there, it definitely tells me that there's some more potential, and there was very little volume associated with it. And the reason for that being is, again, the float, as I addressed earlier, is very low. And this is what we call a thinly traded stock, something that has more than 100 million, even in the billions of shares for floats. As far as floats concerned, it's just what we call like a fat pig. Really, it just takes so much activity, so much volume to get the price per share to move that it's just not worth it. A lot of companies, they'll have notes out that require dilution, and it's just not the best thing for a stock. As long as that floats high, it's not going to move the way we want it to move. So those are the two that I have going on for this week. Obviously, there's so much that goes on throughout the week, and in particular with the OTC, just because of the volatility. So stay tuned within our Discord chat group, and you'll find out the latest changes that occur with that. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it up to questions. Bassmaster Films, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Bassmaster. Yeah. Oh, guys, by the way, I got a guest here. If you guys can see. I don't know. Can you see him? So this is Jake, guys. For those of you who are in, let me. Yeah, there he is. So this is Jake. he's part of the project that we're working on within Techbuds-Solutions.
Yes.
And he's also one of my admins within the OTC chat group. And really awesome to meet him in person for the first time, which is really exciting. I can't wait till we get to reveal to you guys what it is that we're doing, what we're up to, but it's going to be awesome. All right. Bassmaster, bet you won't say hi back. Hi, Bassmaster Films. Okay. Let's see here. Going to some questions. Just scrolling through here. Not a whole lot of questions going. Does anybody have any? Let me see here. Somebody said, how do you play this game? Well, it doesn't look like I have a whole lot of questions to guys tonight, and that's okay. Just wanted to, open it up. Sometimes we have a lot more activity than others, but here we go. GRDO. The GRDO, I don't think is going to go anywhere. Somebody asked, when is this court case going public? That's a good question. That's kind of anybody's guess. Usually it doesn't take that long. I would say, well, the court case is actually public, but I think maybe what you're asking is, when is NTLK going to announce that they had won that court case? That's going to be anybody's guess. They usually don't take too long. Someone asked tips for beginners. So the one thing that I always like to stress is diversity with OTC stocks. Don't throw all of your eggs in one basket. I know that sounds super cliche, but it can't be more true, especially down here, because of the volatility. Sometimes stocks move and it doesn't make sense. That's just the nature of the beast. I'm being upfront and honest with you that sometimes when an awesome catalyst hits a stock, doesn't always mean it's going to move, because it takes volume. And it takes attention. So if there's nobody looking at that particular stock, even though it's awesome news, they might not buy into that. So what I mean by all that is that if you're diversifying, especially and you're with us in our group, we usually get more of these right than we do wrong. So you're going to make up for any of those losses that you might estimate for potential incorrectly. And so basically you make up for those losses on those one or two that you'll get right versus the one or two that you'll get wrong. And so when you're buying into something at the bottom, like we like to buy into, that's how you minimize your risk. So the potential for loss is much smaller than the potential for gains. And so that's kind of how we play this game called OTC, as a lot of people like to hint around to. All right. All righty. Well, it looks like it's a pretty quiet night, guys. I appreciate. Let me answer this last one. Is it okay to start trading with as little as $100? Personally, I would not recommend that. I always like to say $3,000 is like the greatest starting point you probably could have if you're low on funds. Obviously, the bigger capital that you have to invest with, the better. But like 3,000 is really a solid one. You can get away with even 1,000, and people always like to tell me, oh well, $1,000 is so hard to save up for. But I can guarantee you that you probably have something lying around in your closet, in your garage, whatever, that you can save $1,000. It really wouldn't take you more than a month if you really put your mind to saving $1,000 in order to use to invest with. And so that is something that, if you want to save up $1,000, and then when you go to take positions in OTCs, split that up 3 ways. That way you have at least 3 positions that you can take on when you're trading OTCs. And when you're getting into something that small, you could buy something. You could buy like 500,000 shares of something for $300, depending on the price per share. So that's kind of like where I would suggest you could get your starting point at. $3,000 would be ideal. If you don't think you can get to that mark, then $1,000 definitely would work. So that's just kind of like a rule of thumb. It's not anything that's set in stone, but I think that would set you up for the best success possible. if you will. All right, guys. Well, I think that I have talked long enough. Yeah, I'm at Ricky's place. And he was asleep, but he's here with me.
What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are all having an amazing Monday. We're going to go to Topgolf in just a bit.
Gonna have a good time.
Boom, boom, boom. Gotta trade those ETFs tomorrow. Let's go! ETFs.
No J-Nug. No
You
J-Nug.
guys to the moon.
No, you guys. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you guys tonight. So if this is your first time, I hope that you learned something. If you did, please like and subscribe to this video. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. B Smith is out.
Peace.